Hello, and welcome back to a new episode of the Repaint Reality Manifestation Podcast. It is a new episode, a new year, and we have made it around, and we are now at a full year since the beginning of the Repaint Reality Manifestation Podcast. So that is exciting. Thank you for being around. Thanks for hanging out, and let's ride this roller coaster. So today's episode is a love letter to the empaths. And what inspired this was this morning, I woke up and one of the first things I saw was someone mentioning uh, something along the lines of why do I have too big of a heart, or why does it hurt so much to, care so much? And, pretty much it became a weakness was the perception. And man, no, we can't have our love being our weakness. We can't have our heart and our empathic abilities and our ability to care become our weakness. It won't do. So, what I wanted to talk about and explore here was kind of going into a love letter to the empaths. And so, what is the strength of being an empath? What is an empath? This is a human, or the soul, the spirit that in nature is able to love deeply, um, passionately, have great compassion, and not necessarily in just a romantic love kind of sense, but also in a love for animals, love for children, love for people that you don't know, love for the elderly, love for the vulnerable, if you will, love for those that never did anything for you, didn't owe you anything, didn't necessarily you aren't indebted to, but you just have that love. And whenever you're able to start to feel what it is that they feel, what they take on, where you start to say, like, oh, well, like they're going through XYZ, that must feel like, and you just start to take on those emotions as if they were your own, as if, and here's something that becomes an illusion with this, as if feeling it um, equals our capacity to care. Now, I do believe that feeling it expands our capacity to care at times, because by being able to feel as if it something was our own and understand that pain and to be able to imagine it and just go into an emotional state, I think there is a certain amount of expanding the amount that you can possibly see the urgency in a situation to want to take more action. I could see how that could lead to expanding the conversation and the way you may hold space in in what you're willing to let someone be able to express and communicate. You might be more understanding, more patient, but that still doesn't necessarily mean that we entirely understand what someone else is going through, unless we've gone through it ourselves. And it's okay if we start to feel it and then acknowledge when it's not our own, and acknowledge when it's not ours to carry, and acknowledge when someone else is in a choice or a decision or a path. And we can always offer through our ability to love, through our ability to feel. We can always hold more patience, more willingness, more effort because of how much we care. We can make that care available. But what we can't do, and what we try to do, but what doesn't usually add up eventually, is making the decision as if we know best for someone else's path. I'm not saying that you don't know some damn good choices, but what I'm saying is that may not be the choice they want to make. And so long as it's the choice that someone else doesn't want to make, it's going to be an uphill battle that's going to drain both of you if you believe that you're capable of making it for them and forcing it upon them. Now, it's different when we have children and people that are dependent upon us a little bit, because you are literally the caregiver of making choices for them. But I'm talking about capable people. And when we have compassion, when we have love, when we care, when we could see better potential for a situation, when we can see the pieces that could add up and someone just doesn't want to take them, that's when it's really worth remembering that that is their choice, that is their decision. We don't know what lessons someone still has to learn. And once we've offered what we can offer, it is now time to step back and step back into our own energy. Now, something that I've seen a lot is where there's so much love to give, so much care to give. And something that I've seen phrased a lot with a lot of people that have so much to give, and this is me included, is that there seems to be a cycle or a moment that it suddenly is realized or said, or there's this expression of frustration along the lines of, I have so much love to give, I have so much care that I put in, but why doesn't it come back? Why doesn't anyone do that for me? I've given so much, but when is anyone ever going to show up for me the way I show up for others? And whenever this moment hits, especially with our dear sweet empathic souls, there is a giving that you are in the process of. There is a giving that you are attempting, and it may not be received by some people, but you're in that giving flow. I have so much love to give, so much love to give. I can see how to provide this care, how I can go above and beyond, how I can make time, how I can make space, how I can show up. I can show up. I've shown how I can show up. There's this giving, may or may not be received. But then there's this yearning to receive, right? There's this, why can't they show up? Why can't they make time? Why can't they do XYZ? Um, and so there is this giving and this craving to receive, but the biggest illusion and the biggest reason that we don't usually allow all of this to fully be in completion is because we're giving it to somewhere that may or may not be received, and we're expecting to be receiving somewhere where it may or may not be given. But by golly, we're giving and craving to receive. And there is a freaking just timeline collapse that takes place. It really does. When we're willing to receive the kind of love we've been willing to give to ourselves and from ourselves. And I'm talking about making the time, making the space, taking the energy, those things that you see for everyone else that you're like, well, if they could do XYZ, I bet it would be. Do that for yourself. Take that time and energy for yourself. It's worth it. And you're the only one. I mean, it's harder. It's always easier to like look at a situation that's not our own to change and be like, well, this just happened. And it's easier when we're outside of a picture to have ideas. It really is sometimes. But if that energy could be attempted, if you could look at your own problems, and one of my favorite exercises is to express the things that you wish someone would help you out more with, or the time that would be made for you by someone, and all those activities you wish someone would do with you. Write it down as if someone that you admire or that you wish was you were spending that time with was saying like, oh, well, like, what is your dream list? What is your dream activities? What is the dream day? What does all that look like? And then flip it. Look at that list as if you were being handed that list by someone that you admire, as a friend that you would go above and beyond for, a partner that you'd go above and beyond for, a family member you'd go above and beyond for. And how would you make the time and make the space, make the effort, make the finances available, whatever it is for that list if that person that you would go above and beyond for handed it to you? Um, and if there are certain things that you realize you could make work, that you could shift, that you could hold space or time for, then I really encourage you to make that time and give it to yourself. Go on that adventure. Take yourself. Go to that experience. Watch that film. Take that course, take that class, pursue that hobby. Whatever it is that you imagined you would do when XYZ happens, when someone is going to do that with you, whenever the right person comes along, I'm then going to start doing these things. I'm just waiting for this person. Show up for yourself. Do it. Maybe you'll run into that person on the way, the other people that suddenly meet you as you're filling your own cup, as you're taking care of yourself. And that a part of you that has the ability to love and expand and care and have empathy and just passion and compassion for others, that's not going to go away. Because you don't invest your full emotional state into everyone else's problems every time doesn't mean that you aren't going to care as much. And it doesn't mean that your capability of caring is going to suddenly go away. It's not going to disappear. You are always going to be able to fully show up for those that you desire to fully show up for. You're always going to be able to have your empathetic nature unless you don't set boundaries, unless you allow it to be depleting you because you try to give it to those that don't want to receive it. When someone does not want to receive that, honor their decision and choice. Give it back to yourself. Hold space and willingness for those that do want to receive it because you have a beautiful cup of love. You have a beautiful glow of compassion. You have this ability to pour it to so many people, but we don't want to offer or pour it to those anymore when we haven't been receiving it. And when every time we try to pour, it gets denied, it gets rejected, we get blamed for something, we get yelled at. Let it go. Let that release. It was never yours to carry. That is their decision. That is their choice. That is their journey. It's not your responsibility. Let that be theirs and honor yourself for being the one that cares. And offer that to yourself, offer it to those that want to receive it. And when they don't, let them go. I know I've said that a few times, but I really mean it. Consider it, give it a chance. Write down some people on a list that you can be like, I've tried helping these people, I've tried offering to these people. At the end of the day, I've given more than they want to receive, and I'm now going to give at a level that is willing to be received. I think that's a good mantra for probably all of us empaths, right? I am willing to give at a level that is willing to be received. And it's not because we don't want to help others that we stop giving at the level that they stop wanting to receive. It's because that is their choice. It's not our choice. And it will only become our depletion when we think that we can choose that for them. I will only give at the level they're willing to receive. And see how much more you actually are capable of giving from this space. How many more people you can give to, how many of those that can be grateful for when they do receive. Because instead of all of your time being on these people that don't want to receive, suddenly you get to see the ripple results of giving to those that do want to receive. I will only give to the level that is willing to be received. And go above and beyond for yourself, receive above and beyond for yourself. This means that all of us, that means that those around you that want to be receiving from you, it means all of us. The benefit of this is that all of us expand our capacity to receive. So, if you want to be the change you want to see in the world, how about you start expanding the ability that you are capable of receiving? Freaking give that love and energy and compassion and care and willingness and time and space to yourself. Expand your ability to receive and see how that ripples. Give to the willingness that others are willing to receive and see how their ability to receive expands and ripples. And really excited. I'm so glad that you were here for this. This is on YouTube. This is on Spotify. This is accessible in those ways. If you want to be keeping up with the Repaint Reality Manifestation podcast, and I have something new available for you guys. It is called the Creatrix. It is a group that is completely focused on you coming to be in a deep understanding and knowing of yourself, being in a deep, passionate acceptance and curiosity of yourself, and then the willingness to take space and take inspired action with that connection with yourself. And so, pretty much, this is all what comes into manifestation, right? Like, manifestation is knowing what you want and being able to create it through that, like, inspired action, through working on your beliefs, your mindset. But basically, everything in Creatrix is really focused around the energy and the coming into being able to be in that creative, inspired action as a lifestyle. So, really, just always, because it's always just coming back to ourselves. We are always changing. So, as we always change, always evolve, always experience, developing the habits of just continuing to be curious about ourselves, continuing to learn and understand ourselves, continuing to hold compassion, understanding, acceptance of the self, and continuing to create and take massive, beautiful action through that understanding and connection with ourselves. And that becomes a beautiful manifestation process. Basically, think it, create it, take action. But this is the support space to make sure that whenever there is an idea and suddenly it's like, wow, I feel this coming into fruition. But I don't know entirely how this is. It's a big idea, and I'm still figuring out the steps. This is the place to have the big idea where you're still figuring out the steps. This is where this is embraced. And so every month, I'm going to be offering in it a reading to the group, a Reiki and guided meditation session to the group, and then also a monthly shadow book, which includes in it a creation prompt. It includes an intention mandala, intention calendar. Um, it includes some art prompts, a journal prompt, and so it has some tools for you to be able to start creating. There's also an expression session every month where we are going to be able to come together. I'm going to be doing a Q&A style where any questions you have for me, this could be around energy, creation and action, manifestation, the marketing of expression and art, all of that good stuff. You are able in that space to have any questions available to me, and I'll be doing a creative prompt that you can follow along with. So it might be drawing a mandala, it might be designing on Canva, but creating together. I'll be creating in this expression session so that way you can see if you want to create along, if it's a hobby, an expression path that you might want to pursue. We're always going to be introducing new things. Some of it I'm going to make sure that are things that are new to me. That way we can all have this moment of willingness to try things that we haven't necessarily exceeded at before, or things that we don't know if we're going to be good at. Because, I mean, I didn't know I was an artist until I was a sophomore in college. I did not think I could draw. And so I am a really big advocate now for like try things and see how it works, because you have no idea what hidden talent might and passion and like thing that you want to spend all your time on might be around the corner of something that you always assumed you couldn't do, right? And so this is a space for us to have all of that. And then there's a monthly intender circle where we actually get to sit in a circle virtually on camera, on Zoom. You don't have to show up on camera if you don't want to, but we're going to throw in our intentions together. And so we're going to be going over our gratitudes and then our intentions. I'll assist with the phrasing to make sure that we say it in a way that's really building intentions in a good process, amplifying it with the group. And then the way that we want to see the world. I see the world as and building the most beautiful picture of what we are envisioning our world and experience to be. So, I would love for you to be a part of the Creatrix Coven. It is actually very accessible. My goal with this was to make it highly accessible in a place that we can have access, conversation, communication, and giving you really powerful, potent content to make sure that you are in your creatrix energy, that you are knowing yourself, expressing yourself, allowing yourself to take space, be big, and be in constant action with your authentic self. And so it is $15.55 a month. That's it. And I'm excited, I'm thrilled to invite you in. I hope you join that. And you can find links to that all over my website at catchmyimagic.com. I actually have even on the top of my website right now. It's where you find all my art too. But it'll say like join the Creatrix Coven. And so I hope you consider that. Thank you for the 1 year of being in Repaint Reality, and it's been magical, very magical. I'm very excited, very grateful, and I hope you guys have an amazing day.